The question isn't why do I need 120 motors per minute? The question is 120 motors per minute gonna be enough? Alright, how you doing everyone? I am Thor the Undead. I play video games on the internet. Lately we have been streaming just an extraordinary amount of Satisfactory. The 1.2 update came out and it is the best thing to ever happen to me, mostly because it gave us the expanded requirements for the elevator. As you can see, I am on a 50x map. We have just started phase 5 and it is daunting to say the least. Now, this is my 120 per minute motor factory, and we were working on this on the stream for a while, and the question I kept getting is, why do you need so many motors? And the answer is because I am making so many product lines in order to get through phase 4 and now phase 5 even faster. I'm not solving the expanded elevator requirements by just playing longer. Some people want to do that. They build just the regular product lines that they normally would, and then they just wait longer. And that's not what we're doing. I am trying to build bigger, more complex factories that make more stuff. This is absolutely one of them. So I thought I would go ahead and give you guys just a quick breakdown of not only this factory, but kind of my methodology in terms of building modular factories with blueprints. I get a lot of questions about this, so I'll answer some of those right now. First off, let me just say it's not as complicated as it looks. It's actually 8 different product lines. One product line for motors for me is just, we use this stator factory here. It's a blueprint that makes stators 10 per minute. And then we got 3 of those. And then we got, these are rotor factories that produce 16 per minute. We end up with an extra one, it's not a big deal. Then we've got just this basic blueprint that's just 3 assemblers. That's what's making the motors. And we multiply this 8 times. And so 6 times 8, 48. There's 48 blueprints across this entire factory. So really when you zoom in, it's not all that complicated. It's just a lot of the same thing repeated over and over again. Each grouping of 6 blueprints, one product line as I call it, gives you 15 motors per minute. Multiply that by 8, you get 120 motors per minute. So anyway, the other thing to point out down here is that I use the pure iron ingot. The reason I came up to the Dune Desert is because there's a lot of iron here, and I try to use as much iron as possible. We do use steel for the stators, but other than that, literally everything else is made out of iron. You could use iron pipe and actually make the entirety of the entire factory out of iron, but when you use iron instead of steel to make pipe, it uses 4 times as much iron. So I would rather just get the extra coal, which is not that far off, and use that to make steel, which we're making down there with the foundries, and put it all together. So it takes about 80 refineries to make enough iron for this factory, and it takes about 12 in order to feed the steel to send upstairs for the steel ingots. So there's really not all that much to it beyond that. Over here we're doing copper powder. This is also doubling up as my copper powder factory. I've started some other rows of refineries. These are for later. I will probably have to make more stuff at this factory. Over here we're using the alloy ingot for copper in order to make enough copper for the copper powder. I decided not to go with the pure copper just because it would really strain my power grid. We're also doing 2x power on this map, and that's getting to be quite daunting when it comes to doing the refineries because they take 60 megawatts a piece. So it starts to really strain the power grid. That's why I went with the alloy ingots. I think it ended up being a pretty even trade. I think this taps 3 or 4 of the copper nodes in the neighborhood. So it's using a lot of copper, but you're going to need a lot of copper when you're producing 8 nuclear pasta per minute. Now, just to quickly break down what these are using up, the stator factory is using both iron and it's using steel. Now, on my blueprints, I do label them. Like for this here, it uses 80 iron ingots per minute, and it uses 45 steel ingots per minute to produce 10 stators per minute. So that's 2 assemblers. We've got iron for the iron wire, producing 20 a minute out of 4. And then we've got the steel for steel pipe. Now, like I said, you could use iron and do iron pipe, but you're going to consume a lot more iron. So I chose to just do steel to make it a little bit more efficient. Now, the rotor factory is a little bit more complicated, and it uses, 205 iron ingots per minute, and it'll produce 16 rotors. And it's just iron in and out. It's really nice. Makes screws, makes the iron bars, or iron rods for that matter, and it just puts them all together at the top. Pretty basic, pretty simple. Again, this blueprint is available. All of my blueprints are available. You can find them in the link down below. You can also come by the Twitch page if you have any questions about them. You can join the Discord. That's really all there is to it. I manifold the outputs. I bring them all together. You really do have to kind of balance out the belts, because I do this all with Mark V belts, and with the thousands and thousands of ingots we're using, you really do have to make sure you're balancing them out. And really quick, I'll just touch on this. The refineries put out 65 iron ingots apiece, and if you group them in sets of 10, that's 650 iron ingots, which is exactly how much iron you need per product line. So that ended up working out really well in my favor. I kind of stumbled across that math. Now, as far as the steel, I've got about 18 foundries here, and the very end of the groups of the refineries feed the iron ingots to these, because I use the solid steel ingot. 60 times 180, it's like 1080, so you end up with about 300 extra steel. I'm going to use that steel for some other stuff in this factory later. So now back in the main factory, I can answer why do we need so many motors. Right here alone, I am making a bunch of cooling systems using these blenders. Some of them are overclocked, and I'm using the alternate recipe cooling device, which uses motors. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20 right there, and then I'm going to multiply this twice. We're over here making turbo motors, and that's using 7.5 apiece. And then over there, I've got 8 manufacturers making modular engines. So across all those, I think we're using somewhere around 70 to 80, and then I plan on multiplying these product lines, and we're going to need even more motors. So that's why I need so many. I hope that helps a little bit with my methodology as far as how I build my factories, and I hope that makes a little bit more sense around why I have 120 motors a minute coming into my factory. But that's all I got for today. If you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments. If you want to come on by the stream on Friday nights when I'm playing this game, you can ask me questions there, or go ahead and join the Discord. Not just myself, but plenty of the members of the Undead Legion would be happy to help with Satisfactory. That's all I got for today. Good luck, have fun, good game, and happy building.